Hi guys, this is Namkraft. What's going on? Welcome to another series of Starcraft English commentary. This is gonna be another game from the DPL series, games that are almost guaranteed to be epic, especially this one. It is almost guaranteed to be epic because it contains two epic names, and it's almost because I actually don't know if this game is actually epic or not. But if it's not epic, then at least it is, just gonna be a nice, high profile game. This is going to be played on the map Knockout, a brand new map prepared for the next season of ASL. There you can see at the bottom of the screen. It kind of like looks a little bit like Radeon, right? You have well, some elements of it look like Radeon, some elements look like Polestar. You have this 12 o'clock position, but you can see that there's actually no space for you to fly objects behind it. And then you have well, there's a lot of specificities, but one thing I really like to see, really enjoy, is that you have this kind of a small ditch in the middle here near your expansions, where behind it you're on high ground, and in front of it you're also in the high ground, but the ditch itself is on the low ground. So this is going to be a very interesting encounter. I'm not going to show you the map stats because we don't have the mini map stats. These are not yet. The last time I showed it, it looked kind of pathetic, like 7 games total. So let's wait a few more weeks until we gather a bit more data, and then we'll show it to you. But for now, we're seeing a proxy barracks by Flash versus Soulkey, and it's going to be right in the middle of the map here. But this is going to be a spawning pool first game here from Soulkey. He has not yet scouted that middle barracks yet. He is just checking slightly for the center. And it looks like at the last minute Soulkey has discovered Flash's cunningness, and he's gonna be responding in kind. Some Zerglings are already being made. Flash's gonna be in some serious trouble here, but let's see, how does a Terran player often reply or respond in these kind of situations? He will have about 2 or 3 Marines by the time the Zerglings arrive at the barracks. It's gonna be a factory follow-up. So whatever Soulkey's gonna do, he's gonna have to hurry up, because once the factory becomes operational, then those Zerglings will become irrelevant. SV's gonna get pushed back, and now Flash knows that it's going to be Zerglings first. His prime objective will be to try to save those Marines. He doesn't want to lose them. He just need to wait until the vultures become available, and then he's gonna be able to actually just take out all of those Zerglings. And that SC cannot die, not yet. Anyways, he's gonna try to go and hide the Zergling in the corner. And I believe Soulkey would be going for Zergling speed now. This is the only reasonable way to play this. Is when you're seeing a lot of Marine activities in the center of the map, and you have a chance to flank them and surround them. The Marines are hiding hard towards the 6 o'clock position. The fact that, the barracks already been lifted, and looks like Soulkey, without information, is gonna stick the rest, to keep the rest of his Zerglings at home. He will only send 2 Zerglings towards the enemy base, and he will discover there's gonna be no expansion of vultures underway. Maybe the vulture might be able to stop his Zerglings from getting a high ground, we shall see, but I'd say rather not. When vulture arrives now, the vulture stops the Zerglings from getting on the high ground, and one Zerling is going to try to get through, but he doesn't see anything. There's going to be possibly a starport follow-up. We have creep colony. What is it? Creep, not creep colony. Is that a creep colony? Yeah, it is a creep colony. Why would I say just creep? Radiohead song. Anyways, yeah, but anyways, you can see this ditch. It provides both an offensive and defensive advantage to both of the players here. Anyways, Zerglings are trying very hard to attack, but it looks like Soulkey's not able to get those Marines. Just one Marine died there. He's gonna just hang out. He's gonna try to get another Marine. Flash it to micro hard. He's able to save his Marine. He's gonna be able to snipe an Overlord. Maybe we shall see the Overlord is trying very hard to run, but it looks like it's not gonna be, early enough. Vulture gets through. The drone need to kind of block one, but Vulture gets sniped, but the other drones need to micro hard, and looks like Flash gets stopped at the gate, and he's not able to see the tech of the enemy either. Of course, you can suspect that. Well, I guess usually around these kind of moments, as a Terran player, you suspect Hydras. You don't suspect Mutas, I don't think. Well, 1-1-1. Now, sometimes there's a player responding mutas as well. So, okay, those drones are gonna try to do what? Okay, Soulkey has lost about 5 seconds of mining for both of those drones. They need to kind of react very quickly. They are still stuck on the ramp. Okay, those are actually on purpose. Excuse me, what am I saying? Why would I ever think that the Soulkey the King would make such a new mistake, right? Anyways, it looks like they are just for blocking purposes. And he's gonna return them to mining. There is going to be some Zergling block now instead of the drone block. Behind this, we are going to be seeing 111, so there is going to be maybe Valkyries getting made at some point. Ola checking out for the eastern side of Flash's base. Yep, 5 minutes, almost about to get into 6 minutes of the game now. Flash 32 supply, so he's also 32 supply. We're going to be having replacement vultures now as Flash takes his expansion. So I'm going to take this time to actually show you some stats. I think these stats are relatively not new. If you watch my previous video on the DPL series, here are the ELO ranking of the top 10 Broodwar players. Flash is number 1 at 1477. Light is number 2, and we have Bisu, and number 3 Rush, Barracks, and so forth. So the Terran players are doing really well for themselves. That's very, very nice. And here are the ELO scores of some kind of benchmark players that I put in for you, as well as I'm just gonna quickly show you the win rates of some of the players, so you can kind of have an idea as to how these guys are performing. So as you can see, Flash in the last 2 days against Zerg, he is monstrous. He is very, 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 very tough, very hard to defeat at 72% win rate. And as for Soulkey against Terran, he's only 44% win rate. So that's what we have. And by the way, if you have not heard this from me the last time, I will announce now. We will have the prelims of the ASL this weekend. Oh my god, 2 vultures get to do a lot of damage. So there's gonna be 2 days of preliminaries. I think the strong players will possibly qualify in the first day. The non-strong players will qualify later, and we will possibly also have some noobs or some semi-amateurs player qualify. So yeah, just watch all of that on Namkraft channel. I will be covering all of the games, even in the most noobish one. Let's hope for another BCM versus Queen. Remember that game from 2 seasons ago, right? BCM defeated Queen. Was it 2-1 or 2-0? I think maybe 2-1. Where he was, BCM used a technique. Well, he didn't really use any kind of special technique. He just went for barracks, supply depot barracks, opening right in the middle of the map, and Queen was just, kind of oblivious of his plans. Anyways, back to this game. Let me put this ELO stats away, so already we're on screen for a while, and looks like Soulkey is gonna be allowed to take an expansion. At the 10 o'clock position, behind this, we're seeing 2 Valkyries, a lot of Marines. Maybe the 3rd Valkyrie will come too, but I would say, it's going to be the time to kind of stop the Valkyries and start to move back into science vessel activities at some point, because these niches are just really not an end. They're not an end. They're just a mean to get to the end. They're just a way for the Zerg to kind of survive the initial warfare against a Terran player, and then they will switch into Hydras and science vessels all the way to counter. I guess they will switch to Lurkers first and possibly into Hydras later, if tanks are to be expected. But yeah, anyways, looks like Soulkey is not able to come in here and get any kills. For the time being, we're seeing a vulture that took a peek at the 10 o'clock position, so no Flash. Now Flash knows exactly where he needs to send his troops the next time he goes out, so that's that. One more thing I want to maybe show you would be just the accomplishments of players in general in the ASL. So here are the best players, I guess, in terms of gold medals. If you consider winning an ASL the gold medal, then here are the top 10 players, right? What is it? Top maybe 12. Flash still with 4 golds, 1 silver, and 2 bronzes. Soulkey with 4 golds, 0 silver, and 1 bronze. And Flash has, announced that he will not be participating in this ASL. But on the ELO ranking, as I showed you previously, Flash is currently number 1. So even in his kind of off-peak form, is number 1. So I see no reason why he should not be participating in the upcoming season of ASL, and he'll be doing just fine. And maybe he fears that he will not be able to go very far, so he doesn't want to get his fans disappointed. Maybe that is the plan. But anyway, it's going to be having triple lurker stack together with a sunken, so I think it's going to be just enough for Soulkey to survive. He's going to be very careful. Soulkey's got another sunken coming up. Not so sure if it's going to be enough. The Marines might decide to bust. I don't know if it's the right idea. He's stimming. He stemmed. He went for science vessel activities on those lurkers. He got 1 off. There needs to be another sunken. Now the vulture's going to try to get through. Looks like that is one heck of a strong bio army, but the lurkers are looking very, very strong. They come in right now. Is that a mistake, an overshoot here by Flash? He plows through. He need to scan, or at least use a science sensor to see. And he's about to get how many units? It looks like the Sunkans are all still alive. The Sunkans are all alive, and Flash has just got nothing. He went for everything all at once, and he got nothing in the end. He should have gone for one Sunken, the front Sunken, and forget about the lurker on the backside. But you know, most of the time these Starcraft players are just perfectionists. We've seen in that mini versus Royal game. You know, instead of going for the easy shot, for example, if you're a Protons player, as you're using Shadow and Reavers in your harassment, instead of going for the easy shot targeting the nearest SCV or maybe the second nearest SCVs, he goes for the farthest SCV ever, and he gets nothing. Anyways, very ambitious for Flash to go for a quick expansion now. It's the double expansion, I'd say, at the 3 o'clock. It's a nice attack. The science vessels need to retreat. We have a nice coverage from the Marines. Remember that one crazy game between Flash and Soma also on this map, Knockout. This map has potential for some great TvZ. Anyways, these Valkyrie says, you know what, I know I can get repaired later, so I'm just gonna suicide myself there. And Soulkey, alright, he has gone for his Nidus Canal already. Very, very nicely done. Very, very quick Nidus Canals. So he's gonna be able to connect all of the bases. Of course, Flash is still on bio, but he's got a mix of vultures also. So for now the thing's gonna be very interesting. We're gonna be seeing lurkers for a while, until Flash completely switch into mech. He's got a lot of factories, but they're not yet pumping anything for the time being. Mech switch is what Flash is, very famously known for. But recently he's been showing to us bio switch. Have you seen that? Starting with mech first and then switching to bio later. Is something that Flash has been experimenting in that one game at Soma. So, let's see how far he gets along here in the game. All right, 12-minute mark of the game. It looks like Soulkey the King is finally gonna try to take a fourth base. He's saturating a lot of drones in the various locations, guys. He's got plenty of economy here. So he will not shy away from taking it on to Flash. But Flash with his 4 bases is looking very strong. And going for mech and having this many bases ahead of the Zerg player, I mean, what? Usually, if the Terran player is, going bio, the Zerg can allow the Terran player to go for a lot of bases because Zerg can always come back and fight with Defilers. But this time around, Flash has managed to go for both mech switch and 4 bases ahead of the Zerg side. I mean, this is ridiculous. I would say the Flash is really much ahead now. Of course, the side differential also tells the stories a little bit here. About 30 supply differential. And these vultures are providing very, very nice coverage, but we shall have overload speed, and these meches will also help to clear out, these minefield in the middle. So we shall see how these players will be performing, and looks like we are seeing, some more Nidus Canals and some more hatcheries getting set up at the top left. Nice science vessels coming out. He needs to get the Defiler though. He's not able to get the Defiler, just gets some of the lurkers instead, which is not bad, but you do want to get those Defilers at some point. And as for Soulkey, he is gonna slightly crowd forward. It's a nice new term that just coined. But Flash's first groups of mech is out now. When you play with mech, the most important unit, like I've mentioned several times on my stream or cast, are the vultures. These vultures are so important because they will create the buffer between the tanks and the enemy. You need mines, you need to go around sniping Defilers, even going for dual battles with Zerglings is important. If at some point you neglect those vultures, then those tanks will be very exposed. You don't need that many tanks. You don't need many tanks at all, you just need a few. Oh my god, Flash coming up to 5 bases and Soulkey is still on 4. And Flash is going to be able to siege out here. Very, very nice advantage going for Flash, but we're going to be having at least those lurkers pushing those tanks back. Nicely done. We might even have drops at some point. Nice plague on those vultures. It looks like Flash is not responding. He's going to be losing at least 3 vultures. And finally, he's going to respond and he's going to be able to clear it out. I guess retreat with his vultures. Yeah, and his tank container is looking very good. As you know, Flash, the reason, the self-purported reason for which he's not participating in an upcoming ASL of a few months from now, yeah, I guess just 1 month from now, maybe this weekend, the prelims, is that he is fearful of his wrist injury. And this is why you can see his APM is not super high. Of course, Soulkey's APM is not that high either. He's one of the players who's known to be playing with his brains rather than his hands. But yeah, playing mech against Zerg, you need very high APM, I think. You need to have complete control of, at least 4 different, groups of units. Tanks, right? Vultures, Goliaths, and Sciences. Of course, these Marines will be phased out at some point in the future. Oh my god, look at this. When you don't have enough coverage, this is what happens. This is what happens. Those tanks are so expensive. And they fall very quickly to Zergling attack. You need to have vultures in front of you. At some point, you need to actually make some Goliaths, because we have not seen Mutualist being used a lot, but at some point, we might even have a Mutualist switch. And Flash need to manage his army a little bit better here, and Soulkey is allowed to slowly creep forward. He's got 5 bases. Flash has got 5 bases, so he's making a 6-1, but he's buying a lot of time, and that Defiler is going to be able to cast, and that is a terrible position to siege up your tanks. He's going to be losing at least 3 or 4 times, if not all of them. Those vultures cannot support fast enough, and look at how fast those tanks are falling. At the last one, he's able to save some, but this Zergling attack at the bottom right is going to be creating some problem. Mine's going to get lated. Nicely done. He's going to be able to actually snipe some forces, and Flash doesn't have enough coverage everywhere. Like I tell you, when you play against this kind of Zerg style and you play mech, you need to be fast as hell. You have to have lightning fingers fast. You need to be, like Namkraft on drugs. But looks like Flash doesn't like to take drugs, and he's going to be losing double command center at the bottom right, and this is a mistake. This is a mistake to overcommit. His tanks are, sieging position are still alright in some locations, but Soulkey is slowly pushing out, and the king, they say Sunday king plays. This Sunday the king will not place, but some crooks will play in preparation to honor the king. So tune in to Namkraft channel this Sunday. Was it maybe Saturday or whatever? Sunday and Saturday are the same thing. To see how these noobs will be playing and which one will be deemed worthy to challenge Soulkey here, because it looks like Flash today it is not his day. Nice mine explosion to kill those ultras. At the last minute, those ultra will clean up everything. Flash still comes up with more mech, but this hatchery surviving is going to be a problem. More forces coming through, and you can see how Flash is not able to lay mines fast enough. He's so slow. When you play this, you need to be super fast with your vultures. I mean, his APM has dropped, has plummeted down to 270, and the entire bottom right has been overrun, and Flash doesn't have any more locations to expand to. I'd say even maybe have a mix of Marines, because that will help, well, I guess Marines are easier to manage, right? Because the APM wise, they don't take much. Nice attack here, and Flash is gonna get pushed hard back. Vultures are trying very hard to attack. Nicely done by Soulkey. This is the king for you, man. He's so good. Of course, nominally this week Flash is still #1 on the Edo ranking, so you don't want to count Flash out. 1477 is Flash's current Edo ranking. Soulkey's only 1335. So that's what we have. This bottom right is gonna finally get remade. The Ultra gets parachuted out, or whatever, airlifted out, and the game will go on. But Flash is back to a little bit to the drawing board here. He's back to his 5 bases, or he's gonna at least mine a bit. We're gonna be having Ultra drop towards the space. Very funny business. This Ultra was damaged. He's gonna attack the turret. I'm not so sure if this is the right target to attack. More Ultras moving through the map, and you can see the mines are so effective at slowing down these Ultras. You need to have more mines. More mines. Anyways, one tank get destroyed, and Flash is gonna come out. In these kind of instances, I would even say, don't even control groups of vultures. Just select individual vultures and lay mines in random location. It's gonna be a lot faster than trying to lay 5 or 6 mines together in the same location. I feel, that's what I feel. Anyways, nice attack here. This we have a D-Matrix vultures. Defiler is gonna come out. The Defiler is very close to getting sniped. The Defiler is gonna get sniped. Nice look at the last hit to push all of these tanks, and you can see a single unit, a single lurker stops 6 tanks. But anyways, these tanks are gonna be able to shell, and we have a natural barricade. As you can see, this area is gonna be impenetrable. A nice Dark Swarm though to cover, and then those tanks are going to get destroyed. Flash is running out of money. This Ultra is going to try to surround. We will have splash damage at the last minute. Zerg is going to try to surround, and Flash is bleeding expensive units. As you can see, his vulture control is slow. His vulture control is very slow. 9 nice mine explosion, and that tank will survive for a while. But he need to have more mine when watching these games between Terran and Zerg player. You know, watching the minimap, I find it very interesting because you need to have massive coverage in blue dots all around these areas, but you can see they're largely empty. This is a problem with playing, you know, mech. It's very 8 PM intensive, and Zerling can just, you know, stream through like this. Of course, these tanks are not siege, so it's a little bit easier to fight them, these Zerglings. But at some point, you know, we will have the tipping point here. And this base, okay, this base gets sniped, guys. This is huge because officially, even though Soulkey is winning some battles, his economy is still not large enough. He's gonna finally try to take the 9 o'clock position, so that's cool. That's not bad. You know, but there's a limit to what Soulkey can be doing because he's gonna get mined out soon. Zerglings, they are cheap, but they're not free. I mean, we still need money to make Zerglings, and looks like Flash is finally controlling the situation slightly here. His middle army is looking very strong. This is a huge battle. Huge battle. Looks like Soulkey is forced to retreat. He doesn't have enough healthy ultras. Got very sick ultras, and now these very heavily upgraded tanks are becoming a huge problem now, and they will plow here. There's gonna be some ultra drop. There is a very few Goliaths, I admit, but I'm not so sure how much that could be done. So we shall see. I think Defiler should be the tech of choice. It's not really drop. Drop is not really important. There is gonna be Defiler coming through, and nice Dark Swarm will cover most of these tanks. There are still more tanks on the high ground, though. At least they are, you know, the Zerglings can do some damage to the tanks on the low ground, but splash damage has been great. And those, you know, those tanks are still shelling that hatchery. What is going to be Soulkey's plan? He's forced to evacuate all of his drones. He will need to go somewhere else because he's now back to his 4 bases plus a brand new one. He just is trying to set up in the 11 o'clock position. So a little bit of a rocky middle area, middle part of the game here, but finally Flash has come back strong because I think at the end his heavily upgraded tanks just really start to plow through and take over everything. So maybe that was what it is. Anyways, the bottom right has been secured, and Soulkey in his initial attempts to clear that base was successful, but he just neglected it. You know, if he has actually, you know, spent a few more, you know, 8 PM points to drop maybe an Ultra, maybe 4 Zerglings or the Defiler at the bottom right, he will be able to clear that base because that base is not really heavily defended. But now he's forced to play on the, you know, in the open field. And nice attacks here. I think Flash is just gonna clear up the area because Soulkey's got no way, no place to expand to. He's got very few minerals intakes, and as for Flash, well, he's also mined out in a lot of locations, but at least the bottom right is fairly secured, I'd say now. So that's good, and Soulkey need to re-expand to other locations. We are going to be seeing a switch to mutas, and maybe Soulkey's going to be using the mutas to clear out the bottom right. Nice scan though to see where the mutas are coming across. Soulkey need to re-expand once again. Nice Zerglings coming through. What is going to be the plan here? Those Zerglings are going to eat a lot of mines, and these tanks in the right position. Looks like the mutas come through. There are only a couple of turrets, not enough to start this large amount of mutas, and the the Goliaths need to come in here and push those mutas back. Looks like Soulkey have seen that there are just way too many Goliaths. He's gonna back up now and use his mutas to go and harass the main. This is a nice idea because there's only a single turret. He will go for, you know, individual SV targeting here. He gets a turret, but the Goliaths have arrived from the low ground, and these mutas will get pushed back. Nicely done by Flash. I think he's largely got the game in the back now, so it's gonna be the moment for me to start to thank some of my fans, the support of who would have been, you know, very costly to me to do these videos if I don't have them. So here they are. Mr. Wang, thank you very much for your support in the last release. Mr. Daniel, thank you for your support in the last release. And Mr. Sea Goblin, thank you as well. Keep in mind that these videos will release early for these 3 gentlemen via a private playlist that they can access with Gmail. If you want to gain the same privilege, I admit that it's not much of a privilege. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know, a preview of the actual video. But maybe just want to support me anyways. The link to my support is always in the video description. You can use Zelle if you're American citizen to set up a recurring $1 per month. $1 per month is not cheap, right? I mean, it's not cheap for me, but it's very cheap for you. So just spare it instead of just trying to donate $10 at a time. Just go $1 recurring payment on your Zelle account, or maybe your PayPal account or your credit card. There's a way to just set up recurring payment. It's fine. But whatever you choose, I would take it. I would gladly adorn it. I will embrace it, and I will worship it. Zerg is going to try to get on a high ground. He will get a nice Defiler attack. It doesn't really quite cover the entire area, but now that high ground is going to be problematic because those forces cannot get on the high ground. His Ultras is very weak, but he's going to be able to clear out some forces. Keep in mind that Soulkey is still on his 5 bases. He's not allowed to go out. He's stuck where he is, and of course his mineral will mine out very soon. So that's a problem. But Flash, I think his tank count has stabilized now. He's got plenty of forces. I think another drop would have been great at the bottom right. I think Soulkey has the same idea as me. He's got a bright idea just like I do. What is going to be the plan here? We're going to be seeing another base getting set up, and maybe a drop. Yes, the drop is incoming. Looks like Flash is not seeing it just yet. He is going to send some of his tanks out, but now he will realize we need to come back. He's gonna try to assault this area, and there's a lot of tanks. You need to have the Defiler. Where's the Defiler? The Zerglings die the moment they drop here. The Ultras are doing good damage. There need to be Defiler work. That's the first great Defiler job. The second Defiler job hits all of those tanks nicely done. One Ultras need to get involved, and there's going to be a lot of splash damage. But I think those Ultras have enough HP to take those splash damage, get all of those turrets destroyed, and maybe go a little bit closer towards the siege tank. He's going to do that. He will go inside the siege tank, but there's an unsiege tank buying a lot of time, so I think this drop was largely ineffective. Coming to think about it, Flash 180 supply and Soulkey 120. I guess this game will end at some point. Flash will be the victor here. Soulkey trying very hard to go, and of course his speed Zerglings is the strong weapon that he's gotten. But Flash mech is just too powerful. Nice clearance though. Clearance cell at the center area here, just right outside of the top left corner of the map. And Soulkey has got that quadrant completely free. He will attack here. There's just a couple of tanks, but the way that Soulkey is sending single line Zerglings will not help. Okay, we have great Defiler work. This Defiler work is just really amazing, and those tanks are going to be covered all in Dark Swamp, which will really help the Zerglings to clear out. But splash damage for the wind, they can, those Zerglings, they are still damaged if they take tank hits and they're too close to each other. And now those Ultras will come out to clear up those areas, and I think Soulkey need to hurry up before that Dark Swamp wears out. He's able to come out. There's a mine there. No, that mine get destroyed. And GG from Soulkey. That was a nice game. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.